All right. So we got the tune. Now it's time to fill her up.
Getting hype when I aim up, elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, and that's how I'm living. I'm with it till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate.
What is going on YouTube? 5.0 Primo back with another video. And today's video, yeah, we got a long day ahead of us. Excuse me. Maybe I'll close this door. Give me 1 second. Let me try closing the door. Wow, yeah, that was a little bit better. That was really loud. I'm gonna be hot and sweating, but anything for content. Try to give y'all better content. That way I don't have that loud noise blasting in my ears and y'all can hear what I'm saying. So today, yes, before I get started, if you're new to the channel, if you would please hit that subscribe button. If you find this video informative, please hit that like button for me. Let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is 5.0 Primo, or Primo, and here we have my 2019 Roush Charged Mustang. Okay, let's go and get into the video because we got a lot to do today. Okay, so today we are on 93, but we are converting to E85. And when you're boosted, in order to convert to E85, you need to install a fuel system, you need bigger injectors, and you need a different tune. So I got the tune on standby thanks to Wengerd from Wengerd Performance. Tune is on standby. I have my fuel system here along with some other stuff, and I am ready to get this install done. So like I said, I have a long day ahead of me, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you the parts, and then from there we are gonna go to installing. So I'm gonna show you all the installs. I'm gonna show you all the headaches that y'all can avoid if y'all have the Roush supercharger, excuse me. And let's go and get into it. Let me show you the part. So the fuel system we have is a VMP return style fuel system. Comes with everything you need other than fuel rails. So that's the big hurdle that you would need to overcome with the Roush blower or any other blower that isn't VMP. So VMP fuel system sitting here. We got some IDX 1050 injectors. Yeah, ID 1050X injectors. So we got those ready to go. We are going with a smaller pulley. So I got the VMP 2.7 pulley. That is actually the smallest that you can go on a pulley without having to machine the blower. Look how smaller that pulley is. Sheesh, more boost, boy. But yes, so we're gonna be doing the pulley. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna go ahead and go through the install with y'all. I'm gonna have a strap on my head with my GoPro so y'all can see as I'm doing the work. Let's go ahead and get into it. We got a long day ahead of us, guys. All right, guys. So because we are changing our injectors, that's gonna be the first thing that we're gonna get off. We need to get the fuel rail off. So this is in a way. Luckily on the Roush, it doesn't look like you gotta remove the blower, which is great. So before I do anything, I'm gonna spray or blow everything off just to get any dirt away from the injector holes. All right, so now that we need to start on one side, next thing you want to do is make sure that you're gonna have some fill pressure, so make sure you get a rag to put over to your line for when you take it off, just so it doesn't spray on you. And be careful. So put it right over it, and now it's off. So now that we get off, we need to get all these other things out the way, so that way we can get to the fuel rail, get the fuel rail out, and swap the injectors. Okay, so we got the third one out we didn't need to remove the blower, we didn't need to remove this guy. Really just a little plunger on it. I just pulled it back so that way I can be able to get to that 10 there. Squeeze the injectors out in this little area. The fourth one's out right there. I might be good to go. So let's see if I can get the injectors like that. It beats having to pull a blower off. I don't have time for that. Let's go. All right, so for these injectors, you have little sleeves. This one needs to stay on for the length of the rail. Let me lubricate the sleeves before I put them on. Putting these sleeves back on. Ooh, that motor was hot. All right, so now that we got those back on, let's try to slide it back down in there, and hopefully we don't have no issues. Hopefully. It says aftermarket shit, so I wouldn't be surprised. Not vapor, but vent hose. I just want to get these a little exposed here to where I can just replace them as they sit. All right guys, so we got injectors successfully installed. So now let's go ahead and get onto the fuel system. So I'm gonna say this adapter comes separate. It's from a 10 AN to an 8 AN. Where the boost line is at, that's where you want to tap that guy in. Just tighten it down. Make sure you lubricate your O-rings. Like I said, I already had started doing it because I wasn't gonna do an install vid on it just because I was trying to learn the system myself. But I got a great idea of it, of how I'm gonna install it, so I'm comfortable to show y'all how to install. So the guy with the 6 AN fitting, you want to put opposite side of the boost line, and then the one that's gonna tap into your stock line, it's gonna be at the bottom. So it's gonna look like that. The gauge is gonna come separate, so you're gonna remove that fitting, put some thread lock, set it down in there, tighten it down, and this is what you're gonna have. So it should look just like this. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this bracket, because there's a different bracket that comes for the 18 plus that we're gonna install on it. All right, so got the hole there, got the bracket in place, just tightening it up. Let's go ahead and remove this line from the stock line. We need a special disconnect tool. All right, so you got to use a quick disconnect tool. I got this guy here. Just gonna set it in here, push in, and then pull the line off. So that will be able to take your line off. Okay, so you're gonna need to use the longer hose as the top supply line that goes to the engine area. So pretty much what we're gonna do is we're going to route it from the top area to where it's gonna go around here and into there, and it's gonna feed down into here and run down in the fender area underneath. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the wheel off, and then I'll feed it through once I get the wheel off and get all that. All right, so I'm just gonna pull all these clips off to get behind the fender liner. All right, so I'm gonna get this guy down in here. All right, so I got it right here. So what it's gonna do is it's actually gonna go around this brake booster down here into here, like so. All right, so we got the line down. Now we want to put the line back here, and at some point it's going to meet in the middle for the fill filter. So let's go ahead and take all that off, all these guys off. We need to take them off. So that's probably like a 30. Ooh, those things hurt. Watch yourself, guys, but yes, you can get it off. There you go. And now we should be able to set this line somewhere along this line with the fill filter and go from there. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set up our fill filter. So what you're gonna have to do, that's probably gonna need a bigger one. So we're not going to use these. Instead, we're going to use the supplied clamp with it, and we're going to wrap it around the lines. So in this situation, we're just going to pull this off, take both of them off. This down a little bit so y'all can see it better, so y'all can see what I'm doing here. Go ahead and just put that at the bottom. All right, so, and inside you'll have your fill filter. Oops, take this end off. So you're gonna have one with the gasket on the outside, or both of them are gonna have gaskets on the outside. But one of them's gonna need a gasket on the inside. So we're gonna pop these two things off because we're gonna use the clamp like so. So you're gonna get one end of your fitting, and you're gonna set an O-ring in there, and you're gonna apply some grease that's supplied in the kit. You're gonna apply some grease along there just to kind of keep it intact. Keep that O-ring from moving around. So then next thing you're gonna do is the open, you're gonna set to the top, and you're gonna set it inside. Like so. Now that is going to be the outlet side. So what you want to do is you want to mark it. And you can just mark like an arrow showing that it's going to the outlet. So it's going to go from fuel tank to the engine. So now you're going to get the spring, put it on the other end like so. You're going to put this guy on top like so. Make sure they're both snugged up. And there you have it. Remember, arrow showing face towards engine. You'll see the spring on one side, that is your inlet. And then no spring opening is your outlet. So you know, next thing you're gonna do is you're going to get the supplied fittings and the O-ring on there. Grease it up. And I'm gonna slide that guy in there. And you're gonna do the same thing to the other one. Now your fuel filter is ready to be installed on the car, and that's where this is going to come into play. We're pretty much going to set this guy around one of the hoses and just tighten it down, and then your fill line is going to plug from one end, the other end is going to plug there, and you'll have your fuel filter installed, and then we can put everything back together. Tighten it down like so. Just like so. Just gonna pull it away from the body a little bit just to avoid vibrations. Okay, so I have a booster pump installed, so I'm gonna take off the harness. That should go back to the stock module. Need to take this harness off, take that ground out, and then I can move the booster pump out the way. Removed the connector to the fuel pump, remove the fuel line to the fuel pump, and now I can remove the locking fuel ring and remove the fuel pump. Alright, so being that we are a Ford dealer, I am a little spoiled to have this fuel locking tool and unlocking tool. Now, if you don't have this tool, it's perfectly fine. You're just gonna have to use a chisel and a hammer to knock it, to unlock it. But being that I have the tool, I can simply just hit to unlock it, and it's gonna come undone. So now you have this line sitting here at the bottom. You wanna push it in and slide it out. And now we got the new fuel pump right here that we're going to install. That thing is just beautiful. I gotta say, the work they did on this fuel pump is nice. Look at that, guys. That's badass. We're gonna go ahead and install this guy now. Need to put the level sensor on. Snap that into there just like so. So I'm gonna use the rag just to kind of clean around the O-ring. Car's got 8,000 miles, so I'm sure there's some dirt around here that I want to clean up. The O-ring back down, make sure it's in place correctly. Now we can put the fuel pump in. So I need to get my line. All right, guys, when you're going to put this fuel pump in, be very careful, because there's a certain way that it has to go in. There's like a flat groove on the connector hose, and then the connector that's on the fuel pump, it has to line up a certain way in order for it to actually clip in. If you just set it in there, it's not gonna clip in properly. It will slide out. So put that guy on there. And once it snaps, it's fully locked into place. All right, so now I'm going to just run this line along with the stock fuel line, and I should be able to get it from the bottom. Yeah. I'm gonna get it from the bottom, feed it through. All right, so there it is. So now I'm gonna just run it through here. Okay, so we have our line sent down to the fuel filter. I'll go tighten that after this. I'm gonna go ahead and start my fittings for the fuel pump. So you need a 90-degree 10 AN to 8 AN fitting that's in the kit. Then take this guy out. This is the one that you want. You're gonna put the O-ring on, and then you're gonna lubricate the O-ring. So I'm gonna go ahead and start that, and all right, so now we got that tightened down. The other one that you're going to want to do is the 6 AN male to female adapter, like this one. Gonna put your O-ring on the male side. Of course, you're going to lubricate the O-ring, and then you're going to put that guy down in there like so. And you want to tighten that down. Apparently there's AN wrenches. I don't have that stuff. I use the next best thing. This is a Mexican wrench. It pretty much handles all sizes. So what more could you ask for? So once you got that guy on there, that elbow on there, there's another fitting in the kit. This is a 6AN to a 3/8 quick connect adapter. You're gonna put those in there, tighten them down. All right, so now that you got that tightened down, you can actually just connect that like so. So both of them are connected now, and that's pretty much it on that end. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and finish the fill line to the filter, and then I can do wiring. And then after wiring, we'll finish what's under the engine area by connecting all those connectors, and then load the tune and add some E85. Let's go to get all this finished, and we'll go from there. Now I'm just going to tighten this guy down now, and we should be good after this. All right, so I got this, guys. Just trying to mount it up to tuck everything up. The other one I'm just gonna set in here and set a zip tie, just because it already has that fitting for it. Like so. All right, guys, so I got the bottom taken care of. I don't know why this line is so long, because it's normally supposed to go through the passenger side for the 11 through 17s. In this situation, we have an 18 plus, so there's a lot of line. So I ran it around just to kind of guide it somewhere. It's a lot of line. They should make a separate line for the 18 and up, and then a line for the 11 through 17, but whatever. I'll figure it out. Maybe I can get a shorter line somewhere, but for now, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if I can hide it, I would. Let me see if I can kind of tuck it in the back maybe. The main thing is you just don't want to bend the line. So I got it tied into the regulator. I'm gonna tighten it down. My crescent wrench, old reliable, and I'm gonna tighten it down like so. I'm gonna go ahead and install my return line. Is it clipped in now? I think it's clipped in. Didn't make a clip, but I think it's clipped in. That line sucks. All right, so we got that installed. Yeah, it's clipped in. It's in there pretty good. Okay, so we got the return line installed. We got the feed line. I'm waiting for that adapter. Okay, so we got everything buttoned up on the inside of the engine area. Got everything buttoned up at the bottom. So now we're gonna do the wiring. So I'm gonna take these guys off, set them aside. So with your wire harness here, you're gonna have these wires here. So for these with the connector, just set them aside for right now. Now these three, you have two positives and a negative on the top three. So these two are gonna go to the two positives, and then these two blacks are gonna go to the negatives. So you're gonna have two reds, two blacks. The two blacks will go to the one negative, and then the other two will go to the positive in either one. So that's what we're going to do here. So we are going to set the blacks down for the ground, set the black wires, and then your red wires, do those as well. Washer, the nut down on there. Snug them up, just not crazy tight. With these other two wires, you are gonna put into here. Doesn't matter which ones, just make sure to install them and make sure they don't make contact with any of the other wires. All right, so we got the wires set in place. Now this guy is gonna get grounded. I'm more than likely gonna put it here. You're gonna need to just kind of sit right here in this area, out the way. Loosen the 15 up. And this is where I had my booster pump wired up at, so now it's time to route this harness to the passenger side of the engine area to get to the junction box. The carpet area, just tuck it under. And I'm gonna run it under the panel. Let's go over the seatbelt. Go around the seatbelt like so. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and pop that out, and we are going to run this line through the panel and out through the fender well area. And we'll get the wheel off on the passenger side, get the fender liner off to expose it. I'm gonna run a hanger through to grab the wire and pull it through. I got the fender liner off, so there's a little spot here that ties into the inside of the fender area. So I'm just gonna cut this off, and I'm gonna run a hanger through here, push it down to help pull the wire through. All right, so I'm gonna run the hanger wire through here, lower the car down and get it from the other end. All right, so the hanger wire is right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and get this and tape it all up together, so that way as it feeds it through, it can pull it with it. All right, so I got it all taped up with it, so that way it can help feed it back through. So I'm gonna pull the wire hanger, see if we can get it through. And it's coming. It's coming. Done at the bottom, got everything routed. So now we are gonna finish up the wiring. So I'm gonna pull this fuse box panel off if I can without breaking. That'd be great. So let me go ahead and drop the shrink wrap in there on both of them. Make sure not to forget that. You're gonna snip the wire off, snip the cover off the wire to expose the wire, so that way you can crimp it. So crimp it down with the pliers. We're gonna do the same thing to the other one. Set it on there, crimp it down. like so. Now that they're both on there, now we can heat them up with the shrink wrap. So we're going to loosen these bolts before we actually take the pulley or take the belt off the pulley so it's not spinning. So I'm probably going to have to remove the degas bottle. For the tensioner, it is a 17. So you got to go facing towards the driver's side. And so now we could take off the pulley. Alright, so you simply just slide the new pulley on and install your bolts. Now I'm just going to snug them down until I get the belt on, then I'll tighten them up. Make sure it's routed properly. Okay, so now I'm just going to tighten down the bolts. To make sure they're all evenly snugged up. All right. Everything's good. Okay, so now we got the pulley on. Next thing would be to load the tune and wait for the fitting. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and load the tune using the MPVI tube. Simply put your USB into the computer, put your other end into the MPVI, and place it into the data link connector. Get the GT Roush 1050X hit open, and we're gonna write to the vehicle. Internet, we got internet, yes, we got internet, yes, okay, right calibration. And so now it's pretty much just writing the tune. And now it's just writing the tune and we should be good to go after this. So turn ignition off, wait 3 seconds, turn it back on. Ignition's back on, hit OK. And so now we have the new E85 tune. Alright, we're done. Alright, so we ran into a little bit of a, well, I ran into a problem, but this guy got me straight. So pretty much the fitting I had wasn't working. I was leaking fuel, so he's pretty much custom making a whole different line, and I'm just letting him do his thing. But so if you need anything, hit up that boy Brian, Cantu Racing, to get you right. Whew, man, I appreciate this. But so once we get this line going, then we're gonna be able to crank it up. We're gonna set the PSI on the regulator, and then it should be good. All right, so stay tuned. I hope y'all enjoyed the install video. I wasn't able to finish my outro at that time for the video just because it was crunch time. We were supposed to be headed to a car meet at 10 o'clock and it was like 9:50 by the time we were done. But we got everything squared away. The car ran great that night. Got a couple of runs in with some cars. Unfortunately didn't have video on those because I wasn't expecting to run, but went ahead and did some pulls and car ran phenomenal. Shout out to Wengerd Performance for the awesome tune, and shout out to Brian from Cantu Racing for setting up my field line for me and helping me get small little fuel leak squared away. I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all what the setup looks like fully installed and where the issue was and how we fixed it. As you can see, this long line coming from the bottom is the supply line that goes into the regulator, and so there was a little leak coming out from there. And what we did to stop the leak, we actually installed one of those crush washers that I had used in my previous video for the killer chiller, and that helped stop the AC leak. Well, it actually came in clutch for me for this line because it just kept leaking no matter how I had it set in there. It was set in properly, it just kept leaking. So when I put the crush washer, fixed it instantly. So got that straightened away. The only other issue was this line right here, which is kind of routed under the regulator to the fuel rail. So I bought this for Amazon. It is a quick connector, and it goes from a 3/8 to a 8AN. And so what my buddy Brian pretty much did was he went ahead and made a whole different line. He pretty much went and made a whole different fuel line for me. We didn't use the other one because it went from an 8AN to a 6AN, and so just to save us the trouble, he went ahead and just made me a whole different line from an 8AN that went into the regulator to an 8AN that went to this connector, and everything squared away right there. So that way I was able to use my stock Roush rails and haven't had any fuel pressure issues. Like I said, car's been running great. I did a pull yesterday and car's phenomenal. Tune is spot on. Everything's good. But so I hope you enjoyed the install video, guys. If you did, hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for me. I'm gonna have some content coming out with the new setup. We're gonna go ahead and compare draggy times from when I was on 93 to now being on E85. So that video is gonna come out. We're gonna get in some runs with some cars, and yeah, just lots of more different content coming now that we went ahead and upped the horsepower. So again, stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, and that's how I'm living. I'm winning till they digging up my grave.